In this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up a basic inventory management system using Airtable and mini extensions. So let me first show you what we can do here as an example. Um, so I'm going to show you two different forms. One, which is going to be this one, is where we basically scan a barcode on a product. It could also be a QR code on a label somewhere in a warehouse, and that brings up that product's details. So obviously that can be useful for, like, updating any related data, or you can even use that directly to manage inventory. But afterwards, I'll show you a second form that's much more suited to keeping track of inventory changes, where you basically keep a log or a journal of each movement, each time somebody checked out an item or checked it out with the quantity. So let's first look at this one. That's just used to kind of show the product details. So I have this SKU field here, and by default, when I actually load the page, it's going to automatically activate the camera. So for example, if I had this on a mobile device like a tablet or a phone, it would open up the device camera and use that to scan the code. And once the code is scanned, it brings up the associated record. So let's try that now. I'm just going to refresh the page so you can see that. It opens up the camera and it scanned the barcode. So it shows me the SKU that was scanned. And in this case, I only have the brand connected here, but it could show me more than that. Um, and and yeah, I can even click into the brand here. I can see what other products are related, and any data I really want to show here. It really depends on what you want to display. Okay, and then I could make any changes here if I wanted to and submit them, and they would go straight to Airtable. Let me show you the other form now, which is quite a bit more powerful. So this one, it's basically an inventory log. So I would scan the product. So when I click on find, it's going to open up the camera again, and it's going to allow me to scan that barcode. And you can see it connected the product. So that's linked here. And then I just say, like, hey, do I want to add or remove from inventory? So let's say I want to remove 3. It also shows me the current inventory here. And I hit submit. And if we go to Airtable now, you can see this inventory log form goes into this table. So you can see I just removed 3 cookies. So that was the record that I just created. All right, so that's kind of the basic idea. Now let me show you how to set that up. A lot of the configuration here, honestly, is done in Airtable, and it might be a little bit different for your specific scenario, but most of these cases are fairly similar. So here's what we have. So we have a products table that has the SKUs as the primary value in this case. So this is where, in our case, the barcode is stored. And then, each product has a name and it's associated with a brand, and we're showing the company logo here, but, it can be anything. And then it's also linked to this inventory log where each operation would be logged, and then it automatically calculates our current inventory. So I'm just going to show you this this field here so you can use that for reference. It's relatively simple. So basically, it just rolls up all the linked records in this inventory log table and takes the value of this adjust inventory by formula and just sums them all up. Let me show you that field just so you have the reference for that as well. Very simple. So basically, it only checks, hey, if the type is add, then the value of this field is just a quantity field. And if the type isn't add, then it's negative quantity because you're removing. But obviously, this can be as complicated as you like. This is just a very simple example. All right. And yeah, I don't think there's much to say in the brands table here. So I think we can just continue on to how to set these up. All right. So let's just start from scratch so you can see exactly how this is done. So we'll start with the first one, which is going to be our product details form. This is going to be a form with login. So we just select the correct table, which is in this case going to be products. Give it a name, product details demo, and you can set a theme color here. You can add your logo, but other than the table, everything else can be changed afterwards anyway. So you don't have to worry about that too much right off the bat. And you can see this already looks pretty similar to the example I gave you. To make it easier to test, we currently give you this magnifying glass option where you can just select the values from the table directly. But this is just for your convenience while you're testing. You can turn that off easily. In some cases, it makes sense to keep it on, but we really just turn it on by default because it makes it easier to test things out. So for example, if we wanted to turn on this barcode scanning feature, we can just hover over this SKU field and click on this gear icon, which is only going to be visible to you as the admin. Obviously, the end user would not be seeing this. And then here we just have this allow users to scan barcodes and QR codes toggle. So we just turn that on. This is also where you could turn off this magnifying glass. I'm just going to turn that off now. And while we're at it, we can also go to the login page options, which allows us to customize how the login page looks. So for example, we can change the title for it. So we can just say, just product details, and we can get rid of this default explanation as well that we just add for your convenience as well. All right, so that kind of takes care of the login page. But now let's look at the actual form. So once the user logs in or scans that barcode, these are the fields that they would see. So you might not want to show all of these. For example, maybe you don't want to show the inventory log, so you can just remove that. You probably do want to show the current inventory. You might want to show the company logo. You can show the brand. Actually, the company logo we can show within the brand as well. And you might want to set some of these fields to read only, which is really easy. You can just click on any of them and then set a toggle to read only. You can also set them to be required, and there's a lot more options for each field, which we're honestly not going to get into right now. But yeah, then there's several different options we can do with the linked record field to make it behave the same way as in my demo. But honestly, this is a little bit beyond the scope of this video. So I'm just going to leave it as it is for now. Just know that there's a lot of customization options here in terms of how it's displayed, how it behaves. For example, if you want people to be able to create new brand records, in this case, doesn't really make sense, but maybe in your case, you have a field where it does make sense. And you can also allow them to like open them up like I had in the demo. All right, so if I click on done now, it's going to refresh the page. It's going to ask me to scan the code. And now I see, okay, I have a name, so I could change the name just so you can see that this just works. I could link it to another brand in this case because I haven't set this up to be read-only. So, as long as you don't make fields read-only, obviously you can make changes to them. And if I just submit this now, it's going to submit the record, and you'll see that it's already changed the name here. Okay. All right, so that's that basic example. Now let's have a look at the inventory log form. So that one, we would create a form with login for this. No, sorry, a normal form, a regular form. Again, we select the right table. In this case, it's going to be our inventory log table, because that's where we're going to be creating these inventory log records. And again, just like before, the only thing that cannot be changed after the fact is the table. So we need to get that right. Everything else we can set after if you want. We're not going to need to edit any records, so we can leave that unchecked. So this is the absolute default setting here, which is already pretty close to what we want, honestly. Like, honestly, even this already works. So if we just click on find here, we could select the record by SKU, but obviously here we can still turn on the barcode scanning. So I could just select SKU here, and it's the cookies that I selected before, and I could set whether or not to add or remove, and say, remove 3 or something. And now this has already gone into the inventory log. So this was just submitted just now, and the current inventory was adjusted because it all happens automatically in Airtable. All right, so obviously we do still want to make some changes here. So if we click on edit extension, we can make those changes. So for example, the main one would be the product field, where we link the product. So here we want to turn on that barcode or QR code scanning. So if we go to record finder options, we can simply turn that on. And by default, it's automatically going to start the camera as soon as you click on that find button, and it's automatically going to link the record after the scan. If you wanted to link multiple products, you could turn this off, and then you could scan over and over. Or, I mean, you can also scan multiple if you leave it on, but it might be better to turn it off in that case. All right. And then, yeah, again, just like before, there's a lot of different customization options. For example, if you wanted them to, expand the products and all that kind of stuff, you can make fields required. Like, for example, this product field, we most definitely want as required. The type's going to be required. Quantity is going to be required, because that just kind of makes sense. And we can also show the current quantity if we wanted to. It's not currently in that table, but we could show it on the form itself. We can also just show it on the product itself. So let's just do that. So if you go to create and expand records, we can turn on expanding of records, and that allows us to show more details about that record. So without this, all we're going to see is just the primary field of the product, which in this case is going to be the SKU, which doesn't really tell us much. But with this option turned on, it allows us to show a lot more data about it. So we can, for example, edit this product form. We can, just like before, make changes, rearrange these, and also just like set everything read-only if we don't want anybody to make changes. All right, and let's see what this looks like now. So again, if I scan for a product, all right, so now you can see now we have this rich preview here where it gives us the SKU, the name, and also the current inventory. And I can still, add 20 to the inventory. And if I go in here, you can see it's already updated. And now my inventory for the cookies is 24. Okay, so this should be a basic setup. Obviously, there's more things you can do here. You can add field validation, for example, to make sure that users cannot check out more than is present. That would be, for example, if you click on the quantity field, that would be under field validation, where you can add rules to prevent that from happening, where they would just see an error. But yeah, if you do have any questions about this or need any help in setting this up, just reach out to us through the blue chat icon in the bottom right corner, and we'll be happy to help.